Elo hell really stinks. I had my fair share of Elo hell, and today I just want to make a quick video about how I got out and how you can get out too. To start, I was an Overwatch player for a couple years back around 2020 and 2021, and I'll admit I was a stubborn, hard-stuck plat player the entire time. But now, in Marvel Rivals as a solo queue, I made it to GM relatively quickly, even if I was stuck in Elo hell, which I think is mostly high plat and maybe a bit into diamond, for a couple days. Also, just a bit of a disclaimer, I'm not at all trying to be some Rivals guru that knows everything. After all, I'm only in GM, which is obviously not the highest rank. The gameplay I'm showing now is in low GM, and you definitely shouldn't be studying it or anything, because I'm well aware that it is far from perfect. All I want to do with this video is just share my experiences with Elo hell and how I managed to get out. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is tilting and queuing even when you're on losing streaks. These are probably the two biggest reasons that people get stuck in Elo hell. You get a sucky team, you start tilting, and you just play worse, and then you don't really care about the game, but then you keep queuing just because you want to make up for the loss. And I did this over and over again in Overwatch, and I never got out of plat. That's why I never got out of plat. Sometimes you just need to take a break, go do something else for a couple hours, and get back on later. It might not sound like it'll make much of a difference, but trust me, it does. The second thing I want to talk about is more focused on actual gameplay, which is just playing around your team comp. It sounds obvious, but one of the biggest differences between people in Elo hell and people in the higher ranks are how they play with their team or how they don't play with their team. In Elo hell, a lot of players are pretty good at whatever hero they play, and they fully understand their abilities and everything, but in the higher ranks, people are good at their hero and at using their hero's abilities and using their positioning to benefit the entire team. I think it's easy to adjust your playstyle according to the enemy team's comp, but it's a lot more difficult to adjust your playstyle to your own team comp, which people just naturally don't think about as much. For example, a tank needs to know what supports they're playing with, a DPS needs to be willing to frontline a little if the team is only running one tank, a support needs to know if their tank or tanks is going to need a lot of heal botting. You get the idea. Next, I'm going to talk about flexing. This is pretty simple, just learn more heroes. Even if you're really good at one role, you're going to have off games where you just can't get anything going, and you should try swapping. I'm a tank main, but when I feel like I'm inting and just doing nothing, I ask to switch to support, which is my next best role, and sometimes things work out. Something I do want to mention is one tricks. I've had games with one tricks who are either awful or they have their hero banned, and it costs us the game. It's okay to have that one hero that you're really good at and that you would ideally play all the time, but A, that's no fun and you should learn more heroes, and B, being a one trick is just throwing sometimes. Sometimes even if you're really good at a hero, the other team will just shut you down and you'll need to swap. So if you haven't already, grow up and learn more heroes across all the roles. You won't always be so privileged to just play one hero all the time, and if you think you are, then you can stay in plat forever. Anyway, I don't want to make this video too long, so I'm going to conclude by saying take breaks and don't queue when you start losing. One or two bad games can have a huge impact on your mental, and it'll leave you just continuously queuing and dropping ranks when you're not in the right mindset to play the game at your best. Even after losing one game after a winning streak, you should just consider calling it and being happy with what you got, because if you keep losing, you'll want to get it all back, and then before you know it, that whole winning streak meant nothing. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. Please let me know if you want to see more Rivals content. I am having a ton of fun with this game, so I'd love to keep making this kind of stuff and, you know, hero guides or whatever. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider dropping a like and a sub, and until next time.